He's a total fascist.
Freedom over fascism.
Fascist?
How much does it cost for fascism?
What is fascism? It's a word that gets thrown around a lot these days, often as a political insult. But fascism isn't just a label. It is a system. It's a set of behaviors, a warning from history. And the real question is this: could America right now be flirting with the same patterns that we've seen before? At its heart, fascism is authoritarianism wrapped in nationalism. It's a system where loyalty to the state or the leader trumps individual freedom, where dissent is punished, and where fear becomes a tool to control the population. It doesn't just promise order, it promises identity. It promises purpose, a sense of belonging. But it comes at a devastating cost. Historically, we saw this in Mussolini's Italy and Hitler's Germany. These regimes didn't just enforce laws, they demanded devotion. They created an enemy to unite against, controlled information, and silenced anyone who questioned their authority. The people weren't just subjects, they were instruments of the state's ideology. Fascism works in predictable ways. First, it creates an us versus them mindset. Nationalism becomes extreme, not just prideful. Then it identifies a scapegoat, often a minority group, political opposition, or anyone labeled unpatriotic. Dissent is framed as betrayal. Propaganda saturates everyday life, shaping truth to match the state's narrative. And slowly, quietly, power consolidates into the hands of one party, into one leader or one ideology. This means fascism doesn't start with soldiers in the streets. It creeps in through rhetoric, media manipulation, fear, and anger. It grows where people are willing to trade freedom for the promise of safety and belonging. This brings us to the question: does America today mirror fascism of the past? The short answer is no. We still have free elections, our judiciary still functions, and we still protest and challenge the government. But there are some patterns that we need to pay attention to. Extreme nationalism is on the rise. Not just pride in the country, but a sense that anyone questioning it is an enemy. Political opponents are framed not just as wrong, but as threats to the nation itself. Institutions designed to provide accountability, like the courts, the media, and congressional oversight committees, they've started being undermined and even labeled as untrustworthy.
Called the fake news the enemy of the people, and they are. They are the enemy of the people.
More and more, loyalty is being celebrated over truth, and fear is becoming a political tool. In today's world, social media amplifies division, and the algorithms create echo chambers which can spread propaganda faster than anything the world has ever seen before. Our leaders can now bypass traditional hurdles and communicate directly to millions of people. And with their own social media accounts, the politicians can frame reality to suit any narrative they choose. And with that same social media, they can change that narrative in an instant. It's not fascism yet, but it does share elements of the path that history has warned us about. And modern social media is a vehicle that can deliver it faster than we've ever seen before. America isn't Germany. The same things that happened in Nazi Germany and Mussolini's Italy are not happening in America today. But history isn't a strict formula. It's more of a guide. And when you look back, we can see what happens when citizens stop noticing the erosions of norms, when fear overrides independent thinking, and when loyalty is demanded over conscience. When it comes to preventing fascism, there are three things that we need to watch for. One is the enemy narrative.
Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans represent an extremism that threatens the very foundations of our republic.
When political opponents are framed as existential threats, not just competitors.
It is the enemy from within, and they're very dangerous.
They are indeed the enemy from within.
Do you think Donald Trump
is a fascist.
Yes, I do. We do now live in a country that has an authoritarian leader in charge.
In the 1930s, Hitler didn't just disagree with his political opponents. He painted them as a direct threat to the country itself. For example, he blamed the Reichstag fire of 1933 on communists trying to destroy the nation. The resulting fear justified banning the Communist Party, arresting thousands accused of being sympathetic to it, and it led to Hitler enacting emergency powers, allowing him to dismantle the country's constitution, which paved the way to a fascist dictatorship that took the death of over 80 million people to topple. The second thing we need to watch for is the erosion of our institutions. When our courts, media, and government oversight are delegitimized. When this happens, power goes unchecked. In Nazi Germany, Hitler sidelined the judiciary, allowing arbitrary arrests and politically motivated trials. Independent newspapers were shut down or co-opted, and radio and film were reduced to blasting constant propaganda. In Mussolini's Italy, Parliament became a rubber stamp, and watchdog institutions were neutered, leaving no one to hold leaders accountable. And lastly, we need to watch out for and recognize the demand for loyalty over truth. When the questioning of leaders or of policy is treated as national betrayal. In Nazi Germany, speaking out could mean imprisonment or even death. In Italy, Mussolini's critics were exiled, silenced, and many just simply disappeared. Now, let's be honest with ourselves. None of these signs alone, even with as bad as they are, equals fascism. But together, they form the ecosystem where it thrives. Unfortunately, fascism can't be defeated by laws alone, and history has proven that it usually takes large-scale conflict to do so. The easiest way to defeat fascism is by staying aware of the warning signs, by engaging those that are crossing those lines, and by refusing to let fear dictate loyalty. The strength of a democracy isn't measured by its institutions. It's measured by its citizens, by whether they notice warning signs and push against them before it's too late. So is America fascist? No, it's not. But this isn't about labels. It's about patterns. And the lessons history teaches us is simple. Vigilance isn't optional, freedom isn't guaranteed, and there is a cost for ignoring the creeping signs of authoritarianism. And we must always remember, the moment we forget history, it will start to repeat itself.
Radical left, Marxist, communist, fascist.